Everything's so late so far. Says you're watching, Caleb, but it's not giving me the option to add you yet. Hey, Adam. Hey. How are you? Can't hear you. Let me see something. No. Try it again. Let's see if I can hear you. Got Caleb being added.
Yo, yo. What's up, man?
Hey, dude.
How y'all doing?
Okay, I can.
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. What again?
Yeah, what's going on?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Good.
What's up, guys?
What up, man? Shoot, I'm
How's
excited
everyone
to have you
doing
on,
tonight?
man.
We're excited to have you for sure.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Oh no, thanks for being willing to come on. Sometimes there's always like a oh, I don't know what to say, and like it makes me nervous. I don't like being seen by people in large amounts, and then but trust me, it's a casual conversation.
Yo,
Absolutely.
what's happening?
Big
Relatively
Bruce.
famous.
What's
Bruce.
going on? What's up?
What up, big dog?
I don't know it, man.
Oh, right. Let's see here. Kind of add some folks so that way we can kind of.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, hey, we'll get started here in a minute.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah. Normally I'm on a few minutes earlier than this, so I can like start doing this and getting people,
I don't know what you're doing tonight.
I don't know. I'm a failure. So where is Grand Prairie?
Grand Prairie is in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, baby.
We're right outside of, somewhere in between Dallas and Fort Worth. So that's Grand Prairie for us.
Sure.
Yes. Hey, did I tell you I'm from that area? I'm from Paris, Texas, man. My parents live in Texarkana.
Oh, okay. You're not too far from Grand
Yeah.
Prairie.
Man, I visit there frequently. We definitely need to get up, man.
Yeah, let me know whenever you're in the area. I'm always willing to meet with somebody who's driving by or, anybody who's in the area. Definitely meet up, talk dogs, and make it happen,
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
y'all
There's a lot of
stop
dogs.
digging now. Y'all might find out y'all cousins and everything. Y'all from about the same.
I guess I should throw in then, Bruce, that I was born in Corsicana.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Feel left out yet,
Oh,
Bruce?
man.
Feel left out?
Oh, my
That's
God.
right.
That is hilarious. Small world. Small
Oh my
world.
God.
I know. Bruce is like, well, damn.
It's like deuces. Y'all enjoy your Texas. Well, how we usually start, you've probably watched a few of ours, well, at least possibly, is we let you introduce yourself. So you know, who you are, your kennel name, business names, things like that. And then what got you into Bullyz?
I got you. I got you. Well, my name is G. Well, everybody knows me as G. G.O. Barber on Facebook, Kennel_G_DB on Instagram. Uh, man, I'm really just a Grand Prairie barber. Honestly, I just cut hair for a living. And honestly, the dog stuff was just something that, I mean, just came out of the blue because I was, so everything started for me was through my partners. You know, Dallas Elite Bullies became a club through Joe Martinez and Chris Rosas, right? These guys had they had a plan, and at the time I was supposed to come in and be part of the plan, but my money was funny, and you know how it is whenever the money ain't there, you can't really do any kind of work, right? So
Yeah.
my partner was like, "Hey, this is the plan. This is our deal. Let me know if you're interested."
Right.
By the time that I caught up, they had already purchased the dog and they purchased a female, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
no hard feelings. Obviously, I know how it is. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, so I get, hey, sometimes the businesses, the opportunities, they're not always there, and you
Right.
got to get them whenever they're presented. So, uh, cut into a couple years down the line, about a year or so, they end up having some puppies, and obviously they're on a mission, you know, to create some bulls. And at this time, from the time whenever they told me about being involved in the dogs, I kind of started doing my research. This was probably about 2017, 18 kind of.
Yeah.
And I just started doing my research on the breed, you know, because at times you just look at a dog and the dogs are just, oh, it's a companion, it's a dog. But
Yeah.
every owner has a specific dog that they can use, you know, or they can have. You can't just have any kind of dog, especially going based on the lifestyle that you live. Obviously, some of these dogs ain't meant to be out all the time, right?
Yeah.
So when they ended up breeding, I ended up kind of just wanting to support them in their movement as well as what they were doing. I had visited a few meet and greets, not dog shows officially at the time, but just meet and greets and little fun shows and stuff that would pop up. Again, I'm a barber, so my Saturdays is not a good time for me to be off, right? And
Yeah.
the dogs,
Yeah.
obviously, the dog shows are Saturday morning, late evenings, whatever it may be. So I wouldn't miss work at the time. But I popped in and out, kind of just seeing how it was. They had a puppy that I really liked, and I figured from my end to them, it was just support, man. Just really, hey, you're doing something. I support you. They've been coming to me forever with the haircuts. So I just figured I'd support back a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And I started really just popping out with them, just really started going to places here and there, not officially part of Dallas Elite Bullies at the time, obviously. But I mean, these are my friends from, you know, years back.
Yeah.
So it's not like they could just kind of throw me to the side at this point, right? Plus, I bought a dog from you. Let me show your production, right? So I get into a male that I purchased from them, and I see he's kind of by himself, you know,
Yeah.
kind of at that moment where he's like, maybe he needs a friend, something. I started really doing more research and going deeper into what a show dog really is, you know, what a quality show dog should be. And I fell in love. I fell in love with the waffle blood, you know. I know Tone has amazing reputation in the game. I used to watch him before I even purchased the dog and just see how he carries himself, how he shows some amazing bulls. And not only that, you got to mention Waffle House is one of the top producers to ever be part of this industry, this dog game, right? So I fell in love with him. I just love the fact that the dog wasn't too overdone, crazy, big, but what he was producing was something that I could potentially have in my yard in my house, not really yard at the time, right? So I ended up running across a breeder down here in South Texas. His name was Mark Gonzalez. So he used his girl, Texas, shooting star of Texas, Nova Lee, and bred to Junior's boy, Mr. Big Shots, aka Baloo. Now that's a grand champion son off of Waffle House, and obviously at the time I wasn't involved to where I can reach out to someone and say, hey, can I talk to you about your dog or what? I was just more like kind of tiptoeing in and out. So I seen that dog. I ended up purchasing her, brought her up home, and she was with me. She was actually my first dog that I decided to actually show, because my boy, from the beginning, I trained him for more of a protection over our house and family
Yeah.
and stuff like that, right? So it's kind of hard to transition him from a protection dog to a show dog, being that anybody that gets close, it's like, hey, alert, let me make sure my people are good, right? So I ended up having that female about 6-7 months before I shot her over to Ashton Johnson. I know you guys know Ashton. He's the ABKC judge now. And at the time, again, I was just kind of trying to see if she was something that I could potentially show, because by the time I went to ABKC, these fun shows and all these other shows, they were good, but I just loved the badass dogs in the competition that was in those rings at the time, right?
That
Because
gets you
obviously
just as much as
we
actually
don't
being
want to
in the
just
room. Yeah.
we don't want to just be part of it. We want to just have dogs that are worthy of it too, you know.
For
So
sure.
I sent her over for about 30 days. My first show that I attended by myself was in Arkansas to go pick her up. And man, that day she surprised me. Obviously, Ashton wasn't surprised because he'd been working her for 30 days. But she surprised me, being that I left her as a puppy, and now she was this show caliber dog that won me some third places, a couple second places. And it was a great trip for me. I mean, 5 hours away from home. First time I just go somewhere on a Saturday because I don't leave my shop. And not on top of that, you got to think the 5 hour drive there and back, you know? So it was an eye-opening experience, feeling that joy of just seeing the dog in there and just being a part of the community. I mean, I met a lot of new people then. And honestly, I think that's what really inspired me to keep going back, because it wasn't like a hate thing because I wasn't known. It was more like, hey man, you got a bad bitch, you know what I'm saying? Keep showing her, you'll get there eventually, right? So I like that, you know, and I ended up just running with her. It took me maybe about another year after that to finally get her ABKC champion. But there at that point, man, it just felt like it was the right thing for her, because I mean, we loved her, right? We love all our dogs,
Yeah.
but we loved her because of how she was just an awesome dog to show. She would go out there and prance around and just do it and be
On the
happy, man.
rim.
Like the connection between the handler and the dog is one of the things that drove me to want to handle now, you know?
Oh,
It's like if you build some confidence in them and you're confident, the outcome just looks beautiful as they're gating across the ring and doing what they love to do just as much as we do, right? So getting ahead of myself, but backtrack to that female, right? I didn't know nothing about breeding. Again, my partner seen what I was doing, and they're like, "Hey, you're Dallas Elite Bullies, but you're Dallas Elite Bullies. You're coming with or what, right?" Joe Martinez, Chris Rosas, they could vouch for that. Yeah, and so I just ended up becoming part of the team, to where all I wanted to do at that point was just hang out with some friends, show some nice dogs, and be a part of something different. I mean, I've been cutting hair since I was 15 years old. This was definitely out of my comfort zone, but I was still attracted to it just because of everybody that was involved, you know?
Yeah.
So I know nothing about breeding at this point. I just know I got a show-worthy dog. She's a champion now. And my buddy's like, hey, you need to talk to Lou Jennings. Lou Jennings has that Waffle House blood right here in Grand Prairie. And I'm like, well, maybe I can reach out. Reach out to him. Hey, I need some pictures. You know, I'm trying to see him and feel him before I actually get to the point like, hey, how much? Because again, I'm just kind of like, let me just see what happens. So I get some pictures done and we talk a little bit. He reaches out again and says, hey, that's a Waffle House something down the line, ain't it? I'm like, yeah, it's a granddaughter. He's like, okay. I'm like, actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about maybe using your boy Flu Game to breed her to. He's like, man, that would probably be nice. I was like, honestly, Joe's the one that told me to run with this. Again, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but he wouldn't guide me in the wrong direction, knowing what he knows about. And plus, they've been doing it for a couple years before me, right? So I'm trusting him. I'm like, all right, he wouldn't steer me down the wrong path. And sure enough, man, we had an amazing litter. I had 9 puppies. Two of them, which is Jack of Spades, dual champion Jack of Spades, ABKC and BRC champion. I'm still on the edge. I believe he's the Triple Crown champion in USBR, this last show that we went to for nationals.
Ooh.
I want to say he picked up
Nice.
the rest of his points. I know he got his 2 majors, but I don't really want to put it out there just yet because I want the certificates at this point, right? So
Good.
we have those puppies, and then obviously we have 7 other dogs that came from it. I mean, a beautiful litter. Again, first time litter, 9 puppies. I'm like, whoa, what do I do, right? So they just kept me in the loop of everything I needed to watch out for. Again, if without them, I probably would have never even found interest in this. But it was just one of those things where they never let me just kind of drown myself. They were always like, "Hey, what's going on? How they looking? What are you doing? How are they feeding? Is the mom good? Is she taking care of them?" But
Right.
they helped me out a lot at first. I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. But obviously, with experience, I mean, with the times that you do it, more experience, the better you get at it, right?
Oh.
So I based my program basically off of that girl, and then now my boy Jack, which is 2-time Waffle House flu game son, and then Balu grandson. I've been just kind of on the trying to figure out which direction I want to go now, because obviously we met in the show ring, right? We seen each other at shows, and having a dog that shows off and is a nice dog is awesome. But I feel like at this point I may be stuck in a place where I may need to bring something I can outcross to not be stuck in that circle, right? Again, I didn't know as much as I do now. But man, this breeding stuff gets kind of confusing at points, right? You kind of feel like, what do I do next? Is there something that needs to come from me, or do I need to get something to come help me to do better? But no credit taken away from my partners. Those guys, I mean, whew, if without them, I don't even know what I would be doing, honestly. And again, Joe's a smart man when it comes to these dogs. Chris has a lot of knowledge and experience with puppies, as well as, when we all get together, the like minds just kind of flow ideas, and it all kind of starts happening. That's why I'm so glad that I'm able to be here with you guys, because I know you guys bounce ideas off of each other. I've seen y'all do it. It's great being just part of this whole thing right here, right now. So I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man. Hey, hell of an introduction, and man, well worthy. Like, it's a long time coming for you to come on here, man. We've met at shows, man. Hey, you've corrected me. We've battled. You're my boy. Like, man, we've stayed in contact since then.
Dying to know what that means.
Yeah, we really did. We actually went for best in show, our best of champions at Jonathan's show. He beat me. My man. Hey, and then we actually met at the season opener, and he walked by me. He says, "Hey, always stay ready." And man, that advice and that motivation that he's always within the ring. So now we kind of jab at each other, and it's kind of internal, but obviously after tonight it's external. But I love it because people need to have that accountability and that friendship with someone. And my dad walked by and he says, "Man, stay ready." I was in the ring with YOLO. And so later on, like, of course, I walked by and I was just waiting for him. I was waiting for him to slack up, and I was like, "Hey, stay ready, man." But it was just such good advice, and he's just such positive energy. And having you on tonight's a complete pleasure, man. Like, you deserve this flight. You've earned this. You're killing it. Shout out to the commission. I love what y'all do. I love what y'all do, man. Just the vibes y'all go to shows with. When y'all are there, everyone knows you're there, but it's in such a positive form that man, you leave Bruce said, "I'm out of here, man." But
it's the Texas thing. He's still a little salty, but it's he'll be
he said,
okay.
"Y'all going back to Texas? That was the last one, man." But yeah, man, I love it. I love your story. I love how you got into it. And man, let's dive further into it, man. I know you said you didn't take off Saturdays. How many Saturdays have you missed since then in a row?
I couldn't tell you a number, but it's definitely been a whole lot. Obviously, some trips ain't always the outcome we want, but I'm okay. It's okay, because at the end of the day, we make the best of it. It's time that I get to spend with my friends and family in the dog world, and every time you walk in there, you can't guarantee a win, So being the fact that we understand that, and we just keep going forward after, we put in the work. If it shows, it's great. If it don't show, it's because there was a better dog out there that day, right? We've taken plenty of losses in the ring. It's not anything that's, hell, I remember being with Jack, showing him and Pancake getting through some tough shows. My boy Lance Lee, shout out to Lance Lee, that man right there, he was one that, we were getting our asses kicked in the ring at one point in time. And we both just pretty much acknowledged the fact that, hey, we got a dog show worthy, but there's other dogs in here that are whooping our ass, but we're not going to give up. We're not going to stop showing, because at this point we're in too deep. And being that he's out there in Mississippi, right? He's out there, and he's got his whole team on the show going experience. It made us kind of come together as one, because we've seen the powerhouses and how great it looks when you show up with a team, right?
Yes.
Being out there by yourself may be a disadvantage because everybody knows everybody, but when you come with a team, your presence is known, your presence is felt. Shout out to my team, the commission, that consists of Gilbert, Big D Bully Camp, owner of Triple Champion Lil Baby. You got Up One Bullyz, Paco, and he's the owner of Rambo, that's been making a whole lot of noise all across the internet. You're talking about from coast to coast. Me and that guy have gone places, and everywhere. When I mean everywhere, I mean anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Paco's that dude. That's what a good cat.
And of course, Dallas Elite Bullies, my partners, and we just recently added a member, Justin Fuller of Fuller's Bull Co. Really good dude. Obviously he's just starting up, but the guy knows how to listen. He knows how to put in the work, and he understands that there's a goal at the end of it, And I think for us, we all have. Obviously we all have a different way of getting to the goal, but the goal still stands, and that's the standard of the American Bully. Whether it be Pocket, Standard, XL, right? We're trying to hit it to where it's the standard, and that's what we're going for. Again, we all have our different lanes and avenues. We're all taking different routes, but the ultimate goal is to get there. And being that we have such a stronghold on just being more of a family than greed or envy towards each other, because we all know we got great dogs. It's just more about putting the pieces together to the puzzle to be able to create something that no one has ever been able to do, and that's bring kennels together, create a bull, stand behind it, and off of that, create more offspring, right? Because at the end of the day, look at. I'll go back to the example of Tone. This guy's got a dog that has grands. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Like 20-something grands or something.
Yeah. And that's amazing. That's a goal. You got something that we are short of, and that's a grand champion. Grand champion is something that's a goal down the line. Obviously, we're pieces away from making that happen. But again, grand champion, national winner. The list goes on and on to try and be part of this commute and be recognized in the way like some of these other guys have been doing. I don't know too many people that started after us that are still there now. I don't know why it's like that, but the ones that are there have been doing it, and obviously they're doing something right. Reason why we only see those people now, right? I know for a long time this dog thing was kind of like a get rich quick scheme type thing for people, but it's an investment, and if we know anything about investments, it doesn't always turn around right away, right? So my dogs now are about to be 4 years old, and I'm sitting there kind of just stuck in the place where, okay, 4 years down the line, 2 generations later, how can we keep going? How can we keep improving what we already have? And that takes a lot of that takes a lot of thought, but the powerhouse is there for us to kind of just be what we're trying to be and represent the positive side of the community. It can't always be hate and beef, and if there is, man, kind of keep it away. We're not involved in any kind of drama just because it ain't worth it. I got more important things to worry about, and on top of that, we're all family. Now more than ever, shoot, we've gotten together to where we're closer now than whenever we first met. And it's the dogs that did it for us. We all have that common interest, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, big shout out to my team, man. They're watching probably, and they're on here.
Oh yeah, they're popping
Joe,
in.
I see
They're showing
Joe.
that. They're showing that love.
Yeah.
I'm digging it.
You're getting some love in the comments, man. You're getting some love. You're very well loved in the community, man. I love Lance Lee's shout out to you, and I love your shout out back to him, man. That's community love right there.
Oh,
Yeah. Hey, and speaking of Lance, I know Lance is one that has kind of not been showing up to shows as much lately. He thinks he doesn't have anything worthy. I believe he's got some great stuff over there. I'm gonna tell his ass to get in the ring again, but he's coming. But man, that guy right there has been 100% one of the realest people I've ever known in my life. This guy calls me every time I show, anytime that I win a first, second, third place, anything that comes up, he'll call me and give me my flowers. So I respect him to the fullest. And I know he knows what it is with us over here anytime he comes by. So I know he's a big dude, but he's a great dude, right? Okay. When you see him, he's a little intimidating. Let's not lie. But yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I mean, I'm 5'6", so I'm looking up. But yeah, man, shout out to him. Big shout out to him. Salute to him, because I mean, people like him are the ones that made me want to keep coming around. And I mean, it's all love at the end of the day. You may kick my ass today, I may kick your ass tomorrow, but we're out here having fun, you know? So
yeah,
absolutely.
Grand champion John Wayne. What's it? Dual grand champion? Or?
No, 5-time champion.
Yeah, UKC. He actually
missed 5-time champion.
Yeah,
John not too many dogs. Not too many dogs that you can think about that have that title under them.
5-time grand champion. Waffle House son. 5-time grand champion John Wayne, owned by Lance Lee.
Yeah, amazing
Lance,
bull
too,
too,
man.
Amazing bull. He's definitely put in the work, and he definitely deserves all the credit. Because man, even in shows where there was dogs out there that were just looking crazy amazing, he still stepped in and didn't fold. You know, and that's why I respect him so much. He's an individual that's always gonna keep fighting and going for it. And hell, he pushed me to do it too.
John Wayne, cleanest feet I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh, I know it. Like seeing him in person, it's. I mean, the pictures obviously, you know, when you see a really, really good bull, the pictures, that's when you know that like they don't do it justice. I mean, he is just so clean, so damn clean.
Yeah. And such a sweetheart. He has them everywhere with him.
Yes, he does. On the construction sites.
Yeah.
I know. I love his videos. Like they've been going everywhere. He goes everywhere. But the construction, like when he's doing a lot of that demo work.
Yeah.
Hysterical. That dog.
Man, he's such a good dude. Hey, but you said something, and I love what you said too. And you said that you and Lance been talking about it, about that not feeling you have. Well, all right, let me reword that. You needing something more to continue to compete at the highest level. Right. I like what you said with that, because let's elaborate on that, because we're going somewhere, and I agree with where you're going.
Well, you know, in a place where you got real bulls, you get to really see and nitpick your bull, right? Let's not be kennel blind. A lot of people are, unfortunately.
There we go.
We're not. We understand the flaws that we carry in our dogs. We understand where we can improve. Obviously, a dog that's worthy can come in and get, you know, maybe not best in show every time, but get some first places, catch the majors, best of winners, close to best in breed. Yeah. You're on the right track, right?
Yeah.
This is one thing that a lot of people I know carry it, and it's like, my dog's the best dog in the show. Yeah. Not always is it like that. Honestly, let's be real. Go back to the drawing board, right? Let's go back to the standard. If I can nitpick visible flaws, there's going to be a problem with you going in there with dogs that don't have those visible flaws, right? Yeah. If I know my dog is has great movement, but then it has maybe some easty-westy or an underbite that the judge can see, you probably know that you're not going to get the first place when you got dogs that are just nice, firm fronts, no underbite. I mean, obviously, the things that the judge sees in the ring aren't necessarily the silhouette we get to see from the outside. They get to see the dogs a little bit more in depth as far as from the front to the back, while we just kind of sit on the outside and see, oh, well, that kind of looks like the way the standard is. You know, it looks like the tail's there, the feet are there, the face looks about, but they get to nitpick and really get to diagnose the dog.
Really
It's not anything that we may feel, oh, we won't win. But at this point, we've had winners. I think Dallas Elite Bullies at this point has maybe like 8 champions in the camp total. Obviously, not all those are still competing, being that most of them are females, honestly.
Yeah.
You got Diamond Pancake in my yard. You got Katana. You got Black Panther. Joe and Chris have them. You also have Demi that was champion. So these females that we have, they're females. They're slimmer. They're smaller head. Everything kind of leans into where they can become a tool to bring something, to have the competitive dog to bring to the stage, right? The dog that's going to compete to win. We're not trying to show up. I mean, there's been too many years where we look back at the account and it's like, man, we done spend a whole lot of money and we're knocking on the door to a champion. But it's like, man, you look back and the times that are fun always don't get offset by the income that gets put into it, right? I mean, we all have jobs, we all work normal schedules, but we do this on the side to keep something coming for us as far as what we want to have in our house. A dog that looks badass and can show itself, right? But yeah, I think just bringing that together is going to be the biggest goal for us. The biggest task is just putting it all together to where the dog's not overdone crazy, but it's not lacking so much in breed type as well as structure. But again, these are just things like you're not going to go in and compete with a dog that is not going to win. Let's just go ahead and put it to the side and say, okay, the development process is huge, especially me right now dealing with the Waffle House blood, right? These dogs pop after 2 years, 3 years is like my boy right now. Yeah, my boy right now about to be 4, and he's finally starting to become that dog that I wanted him to be at 18 months. So it's the late blooming of that blood. But on top of that, sometimes you have a dog that you shouldn't show, right? You shouldn't bring them out. I have dogs that way. I have dogs, and I've had breeding where I literally pet home every dog except one, right? Why would I do something like that? Well, for one, it was a dog. It was a breeding done to try and keep things that I wanted to keep, but I didn't want to keep breeding that so tight together. Okay. I pet home everything except one female. Now, this one female needs a huge outcross. Nothing close to it because we'll be super tight. And then, obviously, we're not only trying to improve the structure of the dog, the features, the breed type, we're also trying to improve health along with all that. And that's one of the biggest factors that we run into because we don't understand why is that dog have that health issue. But then you look back and say, did you ever test the dog? No. Why not? Well, it's because the embark costs $150, but you're trying to sell dogs that are $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. Doesn't make sense, right? So we try and keep the health test just as important as what the dog looks like. I mean, you can have a badass dog, but if the dog has a heart murmur, what are you doing now, right? Yeah. And no one's gonna want to breed to that. I mean, at least we know we don't. I've had a situation just recently. I had a pup back deal that came back. Puppy has a heart murmur. You know what I'm saying? A beautiful dog, beautiful, beautiful female. Could have been a great foundation female for someone, but we got her tested. Her test comes back and she's got slight heart murmur. It doesn't get any worse, but it doesn't get any better either. So what do? I'm not going to breed that. We're not going to breed that. We're going to make sure that we find her a home where she can relax, be happy. Why put her through the stress of the dog shows? Why put her through the stress of pregnancy, her being potentially lost at birth or puppies being lost? And not only that, continue to breed genetic defects down the line to where you can't get rid of them, right? So all that does the full circle as we try to better the breed. People say let's better the breed by putting bigger heads on these dogs. let's better the breed by trying to keep these dogs longer lasting. How about instead of having such short lifespan,
Yeah.
let's get a dog that can last 15, 20 years for you, you
Yeah,
know?
there's some great
I wouldn't
programs out there
mind,
that have that.
yeah, I wouldn't mind spending $10,000, $20,000 on a dog that's gonna last me a whole lot
Yeah.
more longer than what
Yeah.
10 year. What's the average lifespan for a bully right now? What are we looking at? Maybe what, 7, 8 years? I think.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
got to be in there.
So
roughly. I mean, you've already got like it, and like two programs I know for a fact that are really like that's one of their main focuses, and they kind of go out of their way to make sure that people continue to see their dogs in good health. Is Alex and Devin Ferrero.
absolutely.
They breed for longevity, and
Yeah.
they've got some excellent older dogs that are just still in such great
Like
health,
Luke, you know?
really great condition. And then Tone and Brief. Like I mean, Waffle's what 9, and he
Yeah.
is just running around like he's just kind of doing dog stuff. Like doesn't look like he could possibly be 9. I mean,
Right.
so it's one of those things where like when you start breeding dogs that can have that longevity, that's definitely that should be a focus, especially with this breed, considering it's notorious for not having it.
Right. And I mean, I guess being that you guys have this platform, you guys have a stage to be able to really impact people that are watching, enlighten them in things that can better us all around. I mean, obviously, I've always been known to go by the phrase, we're as strong as the weakest link. And that goes for my team at the barbershop. That goes for my kennel partners. That goes for the commission. That goes for anybody that I'm around. I've always been wanting to be that guy that understands, hey, you could be doing the best you can, but if that guy back there isn't getting lifted up by you and getting pushed to do better, then we're all in that position, right? So obviously trying to enlighten people of just these little things that they take for that they probably don't even care for. But again, having longer lasting dogs, I mean, it sucks whenever you have a beautiful dog or even the worst dog that you have and then you have to put it down or you lose it or something happens to where you can't keep it no more. Those things, man, they hurt, right? We take a lot of L's in this game that people don't
Yeah.
even really hear about. I mean, it's tough because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we are salesmen, right? We got to sell a dog when we have dogs, but it's about having a good dog, a healthy dog that goes to a home that can be taken care of, can be treated well, can love someone just so they can get love too. Those are
Yeah.
important things. And that obviously going back full circle to the health and just knowing that the dog can be there for them. I love it all. I love having dogs. I love showing dogs. I love breeding dogs now more than ever. I've only had 3 litters. And
Yeah.
those 3 litters, I mean, I've had some very nice looking dogs. Obviously, I have co-owns with other people in the XL world where I have we've had 2 litters of multiple digits, and those pups are nice. They look good. They're great, but again, there's factors there that we run across, unfortunately, and just trying to improve it in any way we can has been more difficult than said, right? I mean, anything that you do is going to be hard, but when you start gathering the pieces, like I said, the puzzle needs to come together somewhere. We're just trying to put the pieces together, and we can't change it with one breeding. Obviously, we all know that we've tried, we've done things, and it'd be that one breeding that you say, oh my God, it's going to be so great, it's going to do so good, and then all the dogs are like, oh, okay, maybe one of them can do good for us, maybe that one will do good for us,
Yeah.
but it's
Well, we
part
have
of it. It's part
our
of it.
keeper. I don't know about the rest of them.
See, look, one thing that I know I made a mistake in school was, I never listened to the science part of things. And here we are now dealing with all these genetics and all these things that is like, maybe I could have listened in, right? To
I
trying to see if I'm
should have
doing
paid
good.
attention.
But it's part of it, man. It's cool. At the end of the day, it's a really cool thing to do. And obviously, like I said, you guys have this platform to share small things that can change in a big way later. And I'm just thankful for you guys that y'all actually do this every single time y'all can. And if it wasn't for y'all sharing the platform here today, I probably would never been able to speak on anything that I have on my mind. But I really do thank y'all because y'all are doing amazing. And I mean, there's not I mean, I see a few people doing it, but there's not many that actually share knowledge. They're more just kind of coming on live, stacking dogs, you know, saying this and that, trying to
Talking
prove that
shit.
they're better than everybody. And it's not about being better. It's about becoming one to be better, right? And
Yeah.
improve the breed all the way around. Hell, you can have some beautiful dogs, but damn, man, if they don't last but a couple of years, come on, let's try. There's something there that we got to figure out. We ain't hit it yet,
Right.
right? We ain't
Yeah.
hit it yet. So, but yeah, I mean, it's
Hey, you know
it's
what?
hard.
And I was just listening. I was just listening at you earlier. You saying like you work. You know, barber make their money on the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I know I can hear it in your voice that you hunger for showing your dogs. But it's gonna be a lot of times, man, that you won't be able to go to a show. But seems like to me, you got some guys in your corner will take your dog and show your dog. But see, a lot of times you're gonna miss that experience with your dog because if your dog win, you gonna wish you had been there showing your own dog. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So it's
right.
kind of tough, man. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, man, because I know you ain't gonna find another job because you say you've been doing it ever since you was 15. So, hey,
And if you're good at
Well,
something, never do it for free, my
man,
man.
man,
so one of my biggest things, and I can't take this away from my boy Paco, man. He actually was the one that took my girl Pancake to go get her last points and title her out.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a choice. I had to take that because I was busy at the shop, and
Yeah.
I told her, man, hey, if you get her title, you're all good with me, bro. Let's go, right? So I really wanted to be there because that experience of knowing that you got it is
right?
just something different,
Yeah,
right? It's just like,
yeah.
man, and then being that she's one of my productions, oh my God, the feeling is when I did that with Jack in Jacksonville at Tone Show, oh man, it was the best 15-hour drive back. I didn't care about how long it
You're
took
wrong.
us to get back. I
Hey,
had a champion, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
it's one of those things where it's great seeing the team win. And obviously, I would love to experience it. But man, he was on a mission at that time where I didn't want to slow him down and I didn't want to add no water to that fire. I wanted to keep adding fuel so he
Yeah.
could keep going.
There we go.
And he did what we needed him to do. I mean, what we wanted to do. The plan was to get a champion coming back home. They got a champion coming back home. And I think shortly after that, she went into heat. But that was, I don't know why, but that was, I just had to point that out. And obviously, we bred her once. We didn't have nothing just recently. And I think that's another topic that most people want to just not worry about, and that's the breeding side of it. What do we do when breedings don't take, when things don't go your way, when stuff happens? It's not really the plan, right? I'm dealing with it right now, and again, I'm gonna shout out David Martinez, Martinez Bulls over there in California.
Yeah.
That man's been working with me. I mean, for years trying to figure out if I'm able to get these puppies on the ground off of his national, international winner, right? Grand
Yeah.
Champion Blue. And I don't know what we're doing wrong. And I really, maybe not doing anything wrong. It's just not our time. But there is a point in time where, man, it just gets frustrating, right? And we can't lose sight of things. We can't forget what the mission is. And this boy brings the total package. I mean, obviously, you guys know Grand Champion Blue.
Yeah.
He's the dog worthy of
Yes,
everything,
yes,
in
sir.
my opinion. Okay, in my opinion, because when I first saw that dog, I fell in love. I didn't know what else to think besides,
Besides
wow,
love.
right? So real
You look
talk, and
back
I'm
at
like, oh, which one of my girls, right?
Yeah.
So it's again, things that happen like that, and when things happen like that, you don't have any control. But again, we go back to the drawing board. We go back to try and make it all make sense. Somewhere down the line, it's got to make sense. Something's got to give. We got to put out a certain way, and everything kind of again comes full circle. But it's the titles that make us keep going in the show, but along that, it's the people that we get to meet. I mean, obviously, there's friendships that I probably would have never had if it wasn't for this dog stuff.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
people that I can count on going from East Coast to West Coast that I know if I'm in the area, hey, brother, I got a flat. You think you can call me? Hey, and they'll come. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same way for me. Anybody that comes through Dallas, if I've known you, if I talked to you at a show, if I've met you, man, you're more than, I mean, I suggest you call me if something happens, because if I can't do it, I have somebody that can for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, it's friendships that you build that I would never have nowhere else, alongside meeting badass dogs that everybody has, man. It's crazy because you got to give it to the community, man. They put out some very good looking dogs. I'm not gonna lie. At times I felt where maybe I shouldn't bring my boy out, because these dogs are real nice, right? They're more mature. They have the experience with the handler. They have everything. They're on a roll. They're hot. But hell, my team don't ever let me keep them home. They're always like, get that dog out, let's go. You know what I'm saying? So it's every bit of worth it once we get there. But of course, y'all know, stepping in the ring, if you're not having fun, it becomes a nervous wreck. You become a nervous wreck, and that's why I try and just give everybody a little advice, even if it's just kind of poking at the bear, just to kind of see it. Because I see it in people's faces sometimes, right? We all go through it. We're in that state where it's like, oh, this damn dog ain't doing what I needed to do, right? It's not stacking. I
It was
worked 2 weeks with
sweet
this dog.
nothings until
He doesn't
fear.
let me do what I want to do, right? So you see him sweating. I do it too sometimes, like, oh, man. But you give him that quick little, hey, bro, get that back leg, and it's like, some help, relief. Somebody's looking out for me, right?
What he did to me.
But you know, it just shows that I'm not there to hate on anybody. It shows that, you know, we really want to have the best dog picked at the end of the day. We understand in full, if you're not picking my dog, is because the other dog is definitely better. And I'm not saying we always have the best dogs by any means, but we do got some good looking dogs.
That's your job. That's your job. They tell us all the time, bring me better dogs. And I'm like, okay.
Yep. So,
you
but yeah,
acted accordingly. Well
it's
done.
been fun and it's been great.
Hey, I love the incredible humbleness, but man, tonight is your night. I'm gonna beat your chest for you. G, you are the man. Like, just, man, your energy radiates at show. Your energy radiates through post. You know, like, man, you cutting hair and doing it like with the back to school. Like, you're always doing something influential. Like, even at shows, your impact is felt. Like, we brought you on here for a reason. I'm going to beat your chest for you, man. Like, you keep doing it, man. Keep bringing the positivity towards the community. You're saying the community, man, the positivity that you create is leadership in the community. And that's what I want to salute you tonight, man. Like, you really need to understand, like, your impact that you're having on the community. Like, I love it, man. I love seeing you at shows. It's always a treat. Like, man, me and you always make sure we talk to each other and, man, have a really good time. But, man, your energy radiates. Like, keep doing it.
I really appreciate that, man. And honestly, I just try to keep it as real as it comes. I mean, I'm as real as it comes. I don't like to be told something and then I hear something else. I'd rather just tell you to your face and be like, hey, you may not like me right now, bro. I love you, but them shoes ain't it, my boy. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's those things that,
big. I'm
saying that because you can see it in the pictures. Get you some better shoes. Not, but, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's all love and fun. And I don't try to bash nobody on purpose. I really just try and do it in a way where we all kind of learn from it. Obviously, relationships can go south real fast, but with the people that I intertwine with at shows, they all know who I am. I mean, I'm just trying to make sure that you ain't stressed, because I see people, and I know you've seen them before too at shows, and they're over there. Oh my God! Oh, we're going in the next class. Oh, it's almost time, and it's like, hey, yo, it's cool. Go have fun. Go smile. You know what I'm saying? Go laugh. Go enjoy your dog. Your what's her name? House of Isa Bullyz. She just posted a video earlier today where she said, your energy goes through the lead, flows through the lead to the dog. So you don't want to be doing stuff like, oh, everything's stressful, things are not okay, my dog, where the treats. You know, you just want to go in there and free flow, because when you were training that dog, you weren't sitting there worried about X, Y, and Z. You were doing everything you need to do. So just go in the ring and do it, right? And again, just trying to ease that pressure off of somebody, ease that, you know, all that oh my God, frustration or bad energy,
Yeah.
I mean, I always
Go
come
have
by,
some
you know,
fun.
I've said it to you. I always just come around and just be like, yo, dude, you got to smile, man. I see,
Yeah.
I do it all the time. And then obviously the conversations outside of the ring that I get to have with people that are this close to winning, right? When I see it, it's like, damn, you got a second place. Hey, man, take this
Yeah.
advice here. Try doing this time, because I feel like, not bashing anybody or any other winner, but I feel like your dog has what it takes to be there in that first place, right? So just
Yeah.
try and work on this. And I've had, I mean, dozens of conversations with people where they don't take it in a bad way, because they know I'm not coming from a bad place. They take it and they're like, okay, I'm gonna use this advice. And why do they do that? Maybe because I've done what I've had to do in the ring to pretty much say, hey, I kind of know what I'm doing. I may not be the greatest, right? It may not be the
Damn
best
good.
compared to some great handlers, Hannah, right? Devin, you're talking about handlers that have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And honestly, I learn from them just as much as I learn from everybody else in the ring. I mean, I've been able to just see the difference in a handler that can show a dog, regardless of what dog it is, and I've seen a handler that's showing their dog, and it's a
Mhm.
huge difference, right? Because there's got to be certain techniques that get put into place when you're in that ring. Certain things have to be done so your dog can look a certain way. But I pick up everything. I told Paco a while back one time, I'm like, he's like, yeah, bro, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I was telling him, I'm like, hey, I'm picking up everything you're dropping. Just know, not in a bad way. I'm picking up everything, every gem you're dropping.
Yeah.
I'm picking it up.
Yep.
Everything you're saying to these people, I'm picking it up. Everything
Yep.
that you talk about, I'm picking it up. And I'm doing that with a lot of other people, because overall, everybody has a different mindset, right? But like I said earlier, we all have different ways of getting there, but the goal is still the standard, and that's what we're all trying to hit. So I take a piece of this, a piece of that, and put it into works. If it doesn't work for me, hey, it's not meant to be. If it works, let's keep trying that, so that way we can get better. And then in return, I get to share it to the people that are around me too. I know my partner Joe and Chris, they hardly ever get in the ring. That's not really their scene, but I fell in love with it. I fell
Yeah.
in love with it to where it's my go-to thing. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, if there's a dog that we have in our camp, Joe said, you gonna show them? Come on, I'll show them. Why? Because I know they trust me to
Yeah.
do what they don't want to do. And at the end of the day, we're representing the camp in a
Oh yeah.
major way by just stepping out there and being in people's faces, right? And like you said, I'm not trying to be in people's faces to be, oh, talking trash or talking down to anyone. Look, my dogs do the talking for us. Unfortunately, that's just how it is, and we keep it real professional and keep it business. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Not everybody's gonna like that because they feel like this or that, but at the end of the day, we do what we do, and that's how we've been rolling for a long
Well,
time, right?
yeah, just like we said in the past, it's like try to leave it better than you found it. So I mean, even if it's not received well, at least your input, came from a good place. You're trying to help them. Even if they don't appreciate it now, they're going to hear it from somebody else probably, and then
Exactly.
they're going
Y'all
to be
don't
like,
ever change, man.
"That guy told me that's like months ago, and I kind of was a dick about it." And then they'll be like, well, obviously he was right. So, I mean, you can't control how people take your constructive criticism, but, when it comes from a good place and you really are trying to help them win, give it
Yeah.
anyways. Again, you can't control how they respond to it. Give it anyways, because in the end, if they take it, you will have cemented your legacy in their program and the way that they train their dogs and how they act in the show ring. I mean, that's your legacy. They're part of that.
Love it.
Oh yeah.
I
Man,
love
hey,
the
look,
the, the positivity.
how many is in your crew anyway?
So Dallas Elite Bullies is three of us: Joe Martinez, Chris Rosas, and myself. And then the commission is four kennels. You got Big D Bully Camp. We also have Up One Bullies, Paco, and then Dallas Elite Bullies, along with Fuller's Bull Co., Justin Fuller. So my partners, Dallas Elite Bullies, is three of us. The commission is four kennels, all in one.
I love it.
And you know what's cool about that, man? Honestly, along with everything else, is about just being able to show up and look good and be, you know, something to look up to. It's really just, it's one of those things where all our team knows a lot more together than if you were to just individually speak to me, right? I know certain things about more things about certain things than others. And obviously when my partners and we come together and we just start bouncing ideas, those are really where the moments of us just growing happen, right? Remember, a while back, the commission, we hosted a dog show, Ultimate Bully Championship, right? UBC won. This was a dog show where we just really wanted to bring the community together, and not even for our benefit. It was more of just us giving back to the community. We gave out $7,500 to the Best in Show winner, which was King Cairo down there in Austin. Shout out to them. They ended up taking that Best in Show.
Wow.
We also gave out, because we had a kind of a, well, I wouldn't say sanction, but a confirmation show. And then we had a fun show also. So everybody that won their best class, their best in class, whatever class you showed in, we gave out $100 to every best of class. We ended up turning around and giving out another $500 in the fun show to the best overall best in show. That was cool, but this was one of those things where we were really focusing more on the confirmation side of things, because again, we're wanting to have well-structured, good, healthy dogs, and that's our goal, right? To bring the community so they can see dogs that are worthy of having. Not saying everybody doesn't have a dog, but I'm just saying dogs that you can say, hey man, if that's the breed standard, that's what we need to be looking at. That's how my dog should be looking. And again, we put the show together. Shout out to my team. I mean, all together, everybody in the commission. Again, shout out to James Huber, because he was our food guy and our DJ pushing the pack, right? You got Parkside D, who was the DJ. DJ Aztec came out and helped us too. They all came together and came out. We did this every time we come together to do anything. We always try to give back as much as we can to the kids. Obviously, we have kids in our place and in our surrounding us that they look up to us more than anything, right? We're parents, we're uncles, we're aunts, we're, you know what I'm saying? We're everything that these kids need to have as a positive role model and impact in their lives. So we got together for the Easter. That was our Easter show, Easter edition. And we gave out a bunch of candies, man. We gave out money and Easter eggs. We did, you know, we do it all. We gave out bikes. We gave out, I mean, everything, Easter baskets, whatever you can think of. We come together just to really have the kids be inspired and have something to look up to, have the dogs come out and show as good as they can. And again, give back to the community, something that we don't get at every dog show, right? How many times have we gone to a dog show and you take that ride and then on the way back, you start adding up your numbers and you say, man, we done spent $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 on the stay for the weekend, the food we ate, the showing, the gas, everything, right? We spent a lot of money and we didn't get anything. We didn't even get a first place. But what we wanted to do we wanted to share that with people that were going to come out and show off their dogs, whether it was a dog that won, whether it was a dog that participated. We wanted to still be able to give it all back. Again, I don't know too many people that are willing to just give up everything that they can make, you know what I'm saying, at a dog show. For us, it's not about the money when it comes to that, right? For us, it's about just bringing everybody together, making sure that you feel good about knowing that you won Best in Show. Yeah, the trophies are cool, the ribbons are badass. I got a wall full of ribbons, shelves full of trophies. But man, ain't nothing like coming home with some hard cash to say, hey, we can set up for the next 6 months with this. Or you know what, let's get our next boot to be able to win another show or get our champion title. So that's what we did. We came together to make it all about the community. And if it wasn't for my team, none of that would ever happen, first of all. If it wasn't for how generous they are to know that all we got to do is bring it together, people are going to want to be a part of it when you start showing them that together in a unity we're better. That was the goal. That was the whole thing behind our show. And I don't know if y'all seen, but these guys are kind of posting UBC one, you know, little reels and little pictures here and there and videos. I think we might be on our way to UBC two, and obviously this is another cash event, something that we can just give back a bunch of money, have everybody show up, bring dogs, and have a good time, and of course include the kids in all the giveaways and all that stuff. Just because, man, as a matter of fact, I got my little one right here, just jumped in the car. She just got done with gymnastics, right? And she's actually a USBR junior handler
What?
winner. She's
Yes.
ABKC few times first place. Never had a best in show junior handler just yet in ABKC. I know them kids are tough, and obviously we sit back and watch and learn. And she's got her awards, but if it wasn't for them, I mean, what are we really doing anything for, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I love my kids. I love everybody that comes together and just gives back to kids. This is the reason why we do our back to school event at the barbershop. I mean, this year we had an amazing turnout. We had 82 haircuts that we gave for free to
Love
families
that.
that can be
I love
that
that.
need it. Obviously, I mean, they're not coming in because they just don't want to pay for a haircut.
Yeah, no, they just,
I mean,
yeah.
I see families with 3 or 4 kids, and I know it's hard to pay $40 what we charge now on a haircut. So we gave it all back. We gave out the free haircuts. We included breakfast for everybody. Again, my partners did that. We had school supplies for anybody that wanted to come out. We gave out gift cards to the parents that walked into the shop, bring their kids in, so that way they can start off their week with something in their tank. We gave out a
Amen.
bunch of food gift cards, Sonic, McDonald's, Jack in the Box. We gave out 8 $100 Nike gift cards so these kids can get shoes, because I know, man, I spent $400 on my kids just back to school shopping, and or just on shoes, and that's just 2 of them, right? So I can only imagine for somebody that has multiple kids more than that, how hard it could be. But we try to give it all back because at the end of the day, we're highly favored and blessed in places where we can give back. We can
Right.
obviously do more for our community, and here soon, I know with the barbershop, I know it isn't about the dogs, but the barbershop is going to get to a point where we are able to help more than just once a year. We're able to do this multiple times a year, be able to give back to the community that really just shows us love every single day that we're open. So it's a whole thing. Again, UBC 2 is in the works. We're actually sitting down pretty soon to get it all figured out. We actually like more of the outdoor kind of vibe event because it really just the only problem with that is that we're in Texas, and obviously the weather can get crazy, right? But we are trying to stick to an outdoor event kind of style, just because back whenever we started going to these fun shows, it was a lot of outdoor shows. It was a lot of dogs that would show out. You'd be able to be at a park somewhere and just be sitting around chit-chatting, showing the dog, stacking your dog. It was real cool. It was a cool vibe for me. So we want to keep that kind of energy. Eventually, we will go into a show, into a venue where we can continuously do it.
Yeah.
But we're just trying to bring it all together again for a second time. And it's going to be awesome once we put all the pieces together. Again, it's all about just putting that puzzle together. But we're excited because I know we're starting to send messages back and forth. The team's starting to come together. And obviously, man, again, the shows are fun, the shows are great, but we want to give something back to the community so they can really enjoy about it. It's bragging rights are cool, but bragging rights with a bag, I like that.
Seriously. I'm
Oh,
liking the alliteration. It's fantastic.
yes. Hey, man, let us know. And hey, let us know the link to the
Yes.
too, so we can actually shout that out, so we can get some excitement behind the show 2.0.
Got you. Definitely pass it over. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is this is one of those things where I never really thought that I could really influence somebody in this way. I actually, what I do in my work, obviously I'm a barber, but I'm also an instructor, a licensed instructor, and this is a different way of using my instructor skills, I guess you can say. Just being that I have some kind of joy in speaking dogs, and I can share knowledge that I picked up. And obviously, I don't like to treat people like students, although sometimes we need to be students of our own craft to be able to master a little bit more than what we know, right? So if I have any kind of conversations with people, anytime that I've had conversations, it's always been on a positive end of things, just because I don't need to talk down about your dog. I don't need you to talk down on my dog. There's no reason for that. What I do want to do is sharpen each other, right? Iron sharpens iron, you know.
That's right.
If what you know is something that I may not, but at the same time, I can give you something that you need too. And that's
Yeah.
how we build the community. I know a lot. Well, when I jumped in, there was a lot of people that were wanting to just flip the bag, right? That was cool for me, but at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, I understand the investment side of things. Like I said earlier, some things just make sense and some things don't, right? I want to make a dog that's worthy. I feel like we have the pieces, but at the end of the day, hell, it could be 10 years from now that I have a dog that I can say, hey, here we go, nationals, this is the one, right? But again, it's generation after generation, studying pedigrees after pedigrees, seeing dogs produce dogs, and hell, it ain't better than just knowing from one another and teaching each other to be better, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not learning something new every single day, I feel like you're doing it wrong.
I actually had a conversation with one of my
Perfection is
guys at
perfection.
Yeah, I had a conversation with one of my guys at the shop, and that's what he was telling me, exactly that. He's like, bro, I learn every single day. I learn from you. I learn from them. I learn from everybody. I watch. If I'm not learning something, then I need to be gone from this place because y'all ain't teaching me something, right? And how many of us stick in a situation where we really don't have anything to take back from where we are,
Right.
right? If you're doing that, obviously find yourself a better circle. Not saying that they're bad, but find yourself a circle that is going to want you to do better. I mean, reason why we stand together so close is because we know how to, even if it's in a, hey, you motherfucker, get your ass up, do something. But we're always on top of each other trying to do better. Hey, you ain't said nothing about this dog, what you got going? Or, hey, when are you going to do this? Or when you going to that show, are you going to bring, and it's accountability. It's accountability at the end of the day, right? Because at the end of the day, we do have an objective. The goal is there still. And it can be going to a show just like it can be breeding this dog, or just like it can be, hey, come pick up this dog because I got puppies. You know, whatever way we can help each other, we're sharpening each other up every time. And we just gonna get better as we go on. I see you guys doing it. Hell, you bring everybody, y'all bring somebody on every time, and every time I'm learning something too. Every time I get to hear y'all speak and talk about something. And that's the platform that you're looking for. That's what you want. I mean, let's be honest. If I'm not learning from it, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna exit out of this. Let me go to the next podcast or whatnot, and hopefully they're talking something and not just stacking dogs, right? So
This place, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I mean, these guys, even before I joined in, like the mentality was there. Like we wanted to, educate people and to give them the tools, because even if it's, so much as one person that got the courage to get in the ring when they hadn't before, because they learned some new tactics, from listening to the live, or, they were listening to, one of ours that, was about whelping, and they were able to save one pup, two pup, all their whole litter. Like that in and of itself, that's why we do this. It's less like just the thought alone of that being a possibility is motivation enough. So reach one
Hey, and you
season.
know
That's right,
what?
Adam.
You hit the right word, man. I've been doing this man. I've been doing it a long time, and I used to show a long time ago, and I let Caleb and Amanda talk me back in the ring. But I still learn so much, man. Even though I've been in this game for a long time, I still learn stuff. Every live I learn something new. Every live, every live,
Every life. Period.
everyone. Yep.
and
Because you just
sometimes
got
we
people just bringing different stuff to the table. You know what I'm
I was
saying?
gonna say, sometimes the people that you got on are bringing completely different ideas, completely different ways of them doing something, and obviously that helps everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, I've gotten on lives and just listening, not even be a part of it, and I'm like, man, you know what? I should have done that the first time. Like, why didn't I think about that? Because I mean, let's be honest, we get clouded with life. We get clouded with our little thing that we got going on, and we don't care to just peek at other sites or peek at other podcasts, or oh man, you know what, I don't like that guy, so I'm not going to jump on because he's going to be on that podcast. But in reality, it's like that guy may be able to teach you something, learn something from him.
Exactly.
Because
Absolutely.
I can't hate on anybody. I got my own flaws. My wife will tell you that. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot. I got a lot that I do and do not do.
Oh
But
my God.
I can't. I've never been one to talk down on anybody. Obviously, like I said, I'm about picking people up, inspiring them to do something that I maybe at one point had a struggle with. And in reality, man, if it comes down to just doing right, we can all do right without having to be mad at each other, hate on each other, talk down on each other. Hell, when I met you, I know I was in the ring, you were in the ring, and we never sat there and said, I'm going to beat you because my dog's better.
Yeah.
What I tell you, Bubba, I told you straight up, I said, hey, these guys came out here for a show, let's give them a fucking show. And
Damn
that's
right.
what we do. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day,
Let's
it is
deliver.
what it is. It is what it is. I'm not going,
Yeah.
I can't be mad at you if you beat me. And if you do, you deserve it, because I gave it my all regardless.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I gave it all and I put it all out there for you, you know?
Yep.
But never any hate, never any disrespect. Obviously, I got my own tone, my own ways, my own kind of the way of just knowing other people, and my team knows me best. So you may hear me say something that you'd be like, whoa, that's not like G, but it's because I know them the way we get along, right? And it's never
Yeah,
to disrespect.
you tailor your conversation to the person that you're speaking with, and that's a gift. That's a gift, by the way.
But it's again, it's been a journey. It's been awesome to be just able to do something that I never thought I would do. Again, I never thought I'd have 3 grand champions and on my way to more and better things. But I never thought I would host a show that gave out a bunch of money with my team. I mean, none of this was real at one point in time for me, because I was never into any having dogs like this. I may have had a dog growing up,
Yeah.
and my parents always were like, no, keep that dog outside. But after a while, it just kind of seems like, okay, maybe I won't ever have a dog. But then whenever you see these dogs, you're like, okay, maybe I'll have some more of these dogs.
Not too many.
So it's like it's one of those things where I'm blessed to just be able to have what I have. Obviously, I cherish it every single day.
Yeah.
I can call anybody that I know and just shoot the shit and just be real. Just because, I mean, I'm as real as it comes. I don't have to hide from anybody,
Yeah.
But again, it's good business. It's just knowing and being open to conversations that you really don't like to hear or be talked about,
Yeah,
because
you come
sometimes it
real
is you,
quick.
sometimes it is me that needs to be told, right? But it's all about just learning those things and being able to take it all and use it. Constructive criticism, you said it earlier, it's one of those things where some of us ain't well and we're not good with that. But whenever you understand it and learn that it's not you getting bashed, it's you getting instructed to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
someone
you need
wants
to
to
take from
help
it,
you.
right?
Yeah, someone wants to
That's what
see
you
you
need to
win.
take
They're
from
just like, bro, you got what it takes. This is the
it.
one
Yeah.
thing that I think that you should try and see if that pushes you across the threshold. I mean, gosh, you shouldn't be mad at that. That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I I know you guys show. I know you guys show. You guys have a lot of dogs, and I want to ask y'all. So if y'all can, each of y'all, what do y'all think is probably one of the? What do y'all think the breed needs more than anything right now to improve it or get better at it or do something different, but go towards that goal? For each of y'all, what is that thing?
I'll answer first. To show up. No.
Damn you, Caleb. Damn it.
Which,
You know what, dude? Whatever. That's fine. Still my answer. It's cool. You know what? That's fine. I got a secondary one.
No, we need to show up so we can show the quality of bulls and really network to see how collaborations can take place. Quit being these internet critics and sitting there saying, hey, this dog should have won, this dog should have won if you weren't at the show. Go to the show if you want to critique the show. Go to the show if you want to critique the judge. Go to the show if you want to critique the dog. You shouldn't be critiquing, but at least show up. That's the biggest message I have. Show up. especially if you want to talk and critique. And that's the best way to see dogs, to show up. If you're not putting your hands on studs, something's wrong with you. Like, I don't know where you're going with your program. Like, you're going to show up so you can put hands on these dogs and to really see what you want out of a dog.
Yep. That's a good answer.
Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you something. Going to the Nationals last year in Houston changed my mind a whole lot. I mean, it kind of like set my mind in a different direction because I've never seen so many nice bulls in the ring. You know, I'm talking about, we always talking about this show on this live because it brought out a lot in me. And it kind of like made me want to kind of downsize a little bit and go with smaller dogs. But, and I'm thinking eventually going to get to that. It just got me like, man, it's I don't know how to, it just got me kind of like mixed, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of got mixed breed, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, do I want to do, you know, I know I don't want to do standard. Don't get me wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with standard. Nothing wrong with standard. I do want to stay XL, but I want to get down to like 22 inches, you know, 20 inches, something like that.
Get no Frenchie. Don't you get no Frenchie, Bruce.
You leave that man alone. You leave that man alone. His wife wants a Frenchie. She gonna get.
I can't see Bruce with no Frenchie though. I love Frenchies. It's a beautiful breed. It's a beautiful breed.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, Matt won't let me have one either. So I'm kind of stranded here.
I like what Adam Fielder said right now. He said if you're not putting hands on dogs, you're that's what causes you to be kennel blind, right? Because how many of us go to shows? Look, and maybe this is just me, right? But I don't go to shows to compare my dog to other dogs. I go to shows to go see dogs that are what I want to have, right?
Exactly.
Every time, I'm not gonna lie to you. Every single time I've gone to a show, I've seen a dog that I would love to incorporate in my program. And that's because the dogs are out there for you to see them. And those are the people the ones, like you said, the ones that show up, those are the ones that are going to get the you know, they're going to be seen a lot more. They're going to get the rewards. They're going to get the awards. They're going to be, you know, because those dogs are worthy, right? I mean, I don't mean to bash anybody or any kind of registry, but I'm an ABKC show goer. That to our camp, that is our home. Now, I've stepped away from ABKC to show my boy Jack and other registries, being that we had majors and we were short some points here and there. But ABKC has always been my home to show my dogs for two reasons. One, you get the competition. You get the competition and they come out. I mean, you get dogs that are worthy of literally standing in the ring with your dog, and you better feel a little small when you see some of these dogs because they are true wolves, right? And then two, not that I'm against the party and the, you know, all that stuff, but other registries, it's too much of a club scene for me. I did that when I was younger. I'm cool. I got other things that I'd rather do now, but it's the fact that, well, you know,
what's happening?
Hold on. I'm older now, okay? I'm older now, so I can't really do all the things. But again, ABKC is the competition. The competition is A1 for me.
Yeah.
And everybody says if you can champ a dog or grand champ a dog in ABKC, then you got yourself something that's special, right? Not saying that any other registry's trash or nothing like that. Never would I say that. I compete anywhere I can. But it's just that. It's the dogs are worthy of competition. The dogs are there to compete. The handlers are on point. The way the show is ran, even though we run really, really late sometimes, it's ran in a way where we can continuously go, right? It's not like, oh, man, well, they didn't have this, or they were missing that on the ribbons, or it wasn't even the way it was supposed to go, or, you know, the registration wasn't as smooth as it should have been. At this point with technology, we should be able to register a dog at a show, be able to get paperwork the next day. I don't know what's going on with some registries, But again, not bashing anyone, because we've seen turnaround times be longer than others with ABKC as well, right?
Mhm.
But again, it's the competition, man. That's my thing. We coming out to compete. We want to compete against the best dogs. We want to win against the best dogs. And if you're kicking my ass, then just know you have the better dog. And we're not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop. We're gonna keep coming, and we're gonna keep bringing dogs that we have, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to show off these beautiful dogs. I mean, it's nothing else to it, right? But again, it's the showing for me that keeps me going. The people around it that I love having someone that I can bullshit with on the side, but yet when we go in there, we're gonna compete against each other. And hey, it is what it is. You beat me, I win. Whatever it is, I'm gonna shake your hand at the end of it. I'm gonna congratulate you. I'm gonna tell you good job if you didn't place. And if we have a conversation outside, I'm definitely gonna tell you, not in a mean way, obviously, but I'm gonna tell you what I think. And
Exactly.
no offense taken. Yeah, no offense pushed out or taken by anyone either. Tell me what you think, because that's what I'm there for. I'm there, and I've heard it from multiple people. Hey, man, your dog needs this. Maybe you should try working this. Or, hey, your dog probably needs to have something like this in his system because, this or this and that. It's just a lot of things that you can take away without being upset, and just knowing that no one's talking down. They're just trying to help the breed. And if you got like-minded people like that really want to improve the breed, it's nothing to it. You'll know, because they won't come up to you and be like, oh, your dog this and that. And it's more like a conversation of like, hey, bro, your dog has this and mine has this. What do you think if we try and put that together? Now you're talking about what we can do better, right?
It's that
Now, hey,
performance review, the way you're supposed to word it through HR. It's that I love the way that you address customers. I'd like to see more of this instead of but. You're
So
brilliant.
again, it's what it is, right? It's not anything against anyone. Again, we're trying to better. We're trying to better the breed. We're trying to be better. I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday overall. I mean, I don't have to put no one down to feel better. I just know I have to do better in whatever way I can. It's not always my choice to do great, but I try to do great, right? I can't always choose the right thing, but I do try to do better than especially when it comes down to this. I mean, I have people that message me on a daily asking for advice. Hey, what do I need for this? Hey, what do you recommend for this dog? Hey, my dog has these kind of allergies. Hey, I got puppies coming. How can you help me? What do I need? Or what can I look forward to? Or is there a way where we can work something out to where you come and show me how to handle? Can we get together and maybe you can teach me what you're teaching your dogs? All these things that come about. And at times it could be a lot, but hell, when it comes down to it, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help. And if someone's getting ready to really reach out to me and say, hey, I need your advice, I'll give it to them. I mean, I'm not one to charge you for advice. I really feel like that's kind of, a lot of people do, right? Hey, give me this 30-minute phone call, but send me 25. Like, hold on, bud.
$1 a minute. Maybe I'll throw a fortune in for you just for fun.
Yeah,
keep things spicy.
You charged me $50 for our conversations the other night, man. Send it back.
Hey, I might charge you for dinner, but that's about it. I'm just saying, I like to eat.
Yeah. Hey, that's real talk, man. I like that. I like that you're willing to reach out to people that are willing to reach out to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we stand on. Reach one, teach one, man.
Yeah.
Like, people are willing to reach out to you. You're willing to teach one. And I love that. That's what we stand for.
Yeah. Hey, so we've
Yeah.
got some questions, actually. We've had a couple questions now, because you have literally just been so engaging, like that people are just absorbing and, reiterating like, hell yeah, what he said. There's a ton of that in the comments. I don't know if you've been watching.
I'm gonna have to go back and read them whenever I'm done. I ain't
scroll through and be like, oh my god, they like me. They really like me. But like, so you've had a couple of questions, and so I think that it might be fun to kind of like get your thoughts on some of these ones. Nathaniel had asked earlier, and this is something that I noticed has been kind of like an interesting hot topic as of late. It's kind of a hot topic in a general sense, but I've seen more posts about it in the last week than I have in the last month, I guess. Nathaniel was wondering what are your thoughts on like what the difference is between like an XL versus what they're calling the XXL, and how you feel about that.
Well, from just looking at the standard of the classes, right? I know, again, like I said, ABKC is my home. I don't see XXL in ABKC. I don't think I've ran across it, right? But I obviously know that they're looking for a taller, more massy dog, right? How about we just kind of try and stick to what we have and try to perfect it, or
Mhm.
try and get it as perfect as possible? Because when we try to do too much, there's always more factors that we have to deal with in the long run. There's no reason why we need to keep throwing more things to fix whenever we haven't really fixed what's already there, right?
Right.
I mean, it's hard enough to get an overall dog that hits every aspect of it, and it's even more so whenever we're trying to increase certain things size on XLs, right? Obviously they're XLs for a reason. They're meant to be bigger, taller dogs. They're meant to be very, very, well, I mean, bigger, right? Obviously, but let's fix that XL standard. Let's hit it where it needs to be, and then we can include everything else. We can bring in more mass. We can bring in more bone. We can bring in more chest drop. We can bring in more, whatever it may be that's needed. It's kind of also, I mean, that question, I can kind of roll off of it and speak on the exotic a little bit. Again, not trying to talk down, because that's not what I do. But having an exotic is one thing, but the exotic standard, from what I've seen in BRC, right? Because they're one of the first ones to actually claim the exotic dog as
Yeah,
as a standard.
acknowledge it. Mm-hmm.
There's always those breeders that want a little bit more, and those features, right? Obviously, you're talking about more elbows, right? Which is like, whoa, okay, well, why do you want more of that if that's gonna obstruct the
Movement.
structure of the dog, right? There's got to
Yeah.
be movement and all that. I guess it's the same thing for the XL, in a way, where why bring so much to it whenever we still are missing and hitting where we need to be on?
Yeah.
There's times where, even in pockets, standards, I prefer standards. I love the pocket, just don't really have that correct pocket to show at the moment. But I do love that even in the standard dogs or pocket dogs, you can overdo them. You can
Oh, yeah.
be a little bit too much, and you lose, the structure of the dog.
Yeah.
That, again, it's gonna be very hard for all of us, or any of us, to hit it how it's supposed to be. But I wouldn't necessarily try and go too crazy on any kind of style dog or any class that you choose, because again, you're losing more the bigger the more you want. Let's try and get a dog that's correct in structure, and then slowly start bringing in those things that we're missing. Double
Yeah.
XL. I mean, I've seen some. I know that they claim them, but again, through the standard of ABKC, I don't see 2XL or 2XLs or bigger than that. Just like I don't see exotics. So again, not saying they're not worthy and they're not there, because I know they are. I've seen
Oh,
dogs,
they exist.
but I don't want to say that anybody's doing anything wrong. I think we just all need to focus on the actual standard and try to get as close as possible.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like
And
that. I
the
like
double
that.
XL, from what I comprehend, is over the standard. It's over
Yeah.
the written
Taller than
standard
something.
is the double XL, from what,
Mhm.
to answer the question, just to solidify the answer for it. But that's from what I comprehended.
Yeah, because it's when literally all the existing classes from what's considered the founding registry, they're all based not on size, not on grandeur, not on mass. They're literally categorized by their height only. I don't care.
Exactly.
There's been a lot of this weird talk as of late also about pocket XL. Stop. Just
Wouldn't that be
no such
a
thing.
standard?
Yeah, because I'm saying, well, I have this XL, but it's got like features like a pocket would because it's got a big head and like a big body that's compact. I'm like, that's the way it's supposed to look. So that's an XL, buddy. That's just closer to what the breed standard would, depict.
Right.
So I guess good job. Stop calling it that. Like, stop calling it a pocket XL. That's not what this is. But yeah, it's all based on height. So, just like Caleb was saying a second ago, it's like, if you're talking about an XXL, that's not based on how much bigger than this person's XL is. It's because that dog is over 23 inches tall at the withers.
Exactly.
That's the only thing that differentiates it. And it's not technically accepted in the general sense. Now, will I say I've seen 24-inch dogs win and title in XL class at ABKC? Yeah. Have I seen anybody really kind of bark about, dogs that are like right there at the cusp? Not very often, but I've seen someone whip out a wicket for a 26-inch dog, and guess what? They got escorted out. So, I mean, it kind of is up to the judge. And I mean, we've had, we've heard conversations where you've got some judges that'll say, well, yes, I know there's a written cap, but we don't, it's kind of our prerogative. While others are just like 23 or bust, so I mean, when you have sort of some people saying one thing and others saying another, really all you can do is, if you walk in the show ring and you see a dog that you're like, bruh, that's like 26, 27-inch dog. What you doing? And, you already know that automatically that dog is not standard. It's an off-standard dog. What you doing? Oh no, baby. At that point, ask the judge to whip out a wicket. And I mean, at that point, it's public. Everybody can see it. And if we all are on the same page, it's a written standard and it's written 23 inches at the wither, like this to that. To that, I'm sorry, but that's, with him as always is Garth. You can't really contest it. Like at that point, escort the dog out. So it's like, if you really feel that way about it, then yeah, I mean, bring it, bring it up, I guess. But
Is okay. So double XL would just be considered the height, right? That's the only difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly feel like and me being that I've bred XLs also, I feel like there's a lot of long muzzle, snipey muzzle. There's not much of that big blocky head in a lot of our XLs. My XLs. It's something that I've been trying to incorporate somewhere down the line to be able to have that breed type and that blocky head. I don't think that I would go any taller than where I'm at right now as far as my XLs. And that's just being the fact that obviously we're trying to create that pocket XL.
Don't you say it.
Hey, so you trying to say,
it's one of those things where we're trying to bring something to the dogs, and obviously height isn't gonna fix that. Height, me having a dog that's taller than the standard isn't gonna fix it unless it has what I'm needing to fit into that structure, into the standard that we're looking at. Again, everybody has their own way of doing it. Doesn't necessarily mean that there's a right way, but there is kind of a right direction to go, and the outline is there. So again, two double XLs, they're a little too much for me right now at this point because I have a lot of things that I need to get together in my program, So
all right, I hear you. Well, Adam, I think had asked earlier about genetic testing, and I know that since you were talking about working on your program and everything, and you had mentioned earlier that you're a fan of genetic testing. I'm assuming that you actually, you do genetic testing and whatnot in your program, right?
Right. So there's two tests that I've used before. One, the most common one is the embark test, one of the easiest tests to use. Obviously, they know exactly how it's the whole process. It's the swab being so simple, putting it in the envelope that they already give you to ship out, and the fact that everything comes back in an email is so easy for you to read and depict, right? There's been 4-panel testing that I've done where I've actually took a piece of a nail off of a dog and sent it, and then they did it through that, which was a little bit more confusing because at that point it's more like graphs that they show you and just a bunch of information, and it's just not separated like Embark. I personally love to use Embark. My dogs that I've bred and have used are Embark tested, and again, it gives you more of just the overall dog, right? You're talking about most. I know that in the Frenchie game, most breeders only breed with DNA, and I kind of decided to just see what my dog had with the Embark test, because again, you get to see all the factors behind it. I mean, is there any kind of symptoms that you don't want to overlap in different breedings? Is there something that you need to tell the client before they breed to your dog that says, hey, you know what, this dog carries a copy of this, and make sure that your dog doesn't, because what's going to happen is we're going to have more deficiencies or problems going down the line because those genes will stack up on each other, right? Obviously, health is the main concern for me right now, trying to have that longer lasting dog, like I said. So yeah, the testing is everything, man. I recommend people to actually do that, just because it helps overall with everything. I mean, you're not just trying to figure out, oh, well, your dog has this issue, but it's really like, hey, what do all these dogs that I've tested have in common, and what are the common issues that we need to fix? How do we fix those common issues, right? How do we go about it to not keep doubling up on these things that are going to just potentially keep coming back, even if you don't have a dog that has it, but you have a paired up couple later down in the pedigree that just kept that in there, right? So just trying to keep it as straightforward as possible. Obviously, I've bred to dogs that I didn't have any health tests for at the beginning, and now I do really choose to just ask them and say, hey, I'm using your stud. Is it an inconvenience, or do you have testing on this dog? Because I want to make sure that we are doing the right thing, not just looking at the dog, not just having the look of the dog, not just having the structure of the dog, but overall, what are we putting together as far as genetics, and that being stacked up in a way where will we have issues? Will we clear from it? Are we even stepping in the right direction by having this breeding happen? Because there's nothing worse than having a dog breed to another dog, and then you get a beautiful litter that starts dying away slowly. That sucks. You know what I'm
That's hard
saying?
one.
And obviously, as a stud owner, you really want to guarantee your stud to be able to produce something, but in reality, the only way we can is if we have black and white, you know, testing. If we agree that this is the right way to go, and if this is obviously the best thing for the breed. I've had people call me and they just want to use the stud because their stud ran out on them. Okay, do you have any testing for the dog? Is there anything that you need to tell me about your dog? What do you know about your dog? Has it been bred
Do you
before? Is
know
it
anything?
able to breed? I mean, have you ever even had a health test
What are
done
her
on the dog?
numbers?
Right?
Like,
Or
do
did
you
you
have a
just get the
suggestion?
dog from the breeder and they told you, hey, look, health test came back good, you're good to take it? Or you know what I'm saying? You don't have you did you follow up on any of that? I mean, my dogs go to the vet not only just once a year for their shots, but if there's something that we see wrong, I call my partners, and my partners, again, they're very knowledgeable on things that I may not. And when I do, they give me reasons why it happened, why it shouldn't happen,
Yeah.
or what I'm doing wrong, or if I'm doing anything that I can change to do better. Those things right there doesn't necessarily mean that your dog is genetically defected, but you're still learning from somebody, and it may be a case of something in the background, something in the genetic factor that happened. Now your dog's having to deal with these
Some
issues.
recessive stuff.
Yes,
It's like,
very, very
where
much
did
so.
this,
But
what the French
again,
toast is happening here?
I do recommend all of us to do some kind of testing before breeding. If you haven't done it on your dogs, obviously, man, go check it out. It's a little investment that goes a long way, and you can really tell your clients, customers that are wanting to use your dog, what it is that they're getting themselves into. And of course, if you got to push it on somebody, say, man, hey, dude, go, you know what? I'll give you half if you want to make this breeding happen. Just know that I need to know that it's going to be the right thing to do. I don't want to sit there and breed dogs that ain't going to last, that ain't going to live. And honestly, it sucks whenever you don't do it, because now we're already shooting a slingshot into the air and we don't know where it's going or where it's going to land. It's even more so when you don't have anything to land it on, there's no background or no structure to go off of. So you got to make sure that they're tested. It's
Russian roulette. It is genetic Russian roulette, man.
Yep.
It's pretty.
I love it.
Yeah, I got it. Sean, Sean had, or no, hold up. Ooh, I'm scrolling. Sean had a question that pretty much I kind of feel like any one of us could also have different inputs on, because again, it's not a one size fits all. This is dogs, like no one size fits all universal thing. He said, have you ever used CBD before a show to calm your dog down? Not yourself, your dog.
I like THC. No.
Two, completely different letters, bud.
All right. So, anyways, yes, I have. I actually have a dog that used to always want to just be out and play. Anytime he saw other dogs, Jack actually he's one of my dogs that here recently. He's just recently in these last few shows, I've actually given him CBD treats. I feel like it does help him just being in the environment, because he is one of those dogs that wants to just go, you know what I'm saying? So I don't overdo it. I usually do one early in the morning, see how he's acting. If he's still kind of midday, still trying to just fidget around and do whatnot, I don't completely get him to the point where they're just like, ugh. That's not the goal, right? Because at the end of the day, they look slouchy when they're in the ring if they have too much of it, right?
It's like, why are we still here, bro?
Yeah. So, and then again, most shows call for long days, so you definitely don't want them to just tire out come show 3 and 4, where they're just like, I've had enough, just put me in the car, I'll sleep, So I try to balance it. It's not a bad deal. Not every CBD treat for dogs is good for them. Do your research, obviously. Do know what your ingredients are in these things, and know that some treats aren't good for every dog. One treat may work for my dog, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for your dog. And that's, I feel like, is important, because I've had it to where I gave a dog a CBD treat and it was just like the complete opposite of what I wanted it to do. So it wasn't like she calmed down, but she was just more like on alert, like, okay, whatever you need to do, like, let's go.
She got the paranoia. That's what it is.
She was a little paranoid.
She was looking for that 5-0. That's what happened.
So yeah, definitely do your research on the treats. If you need to use them, obviously they're there for a reason. I'm not against using them. I just don't recommend you use a whole lot of them at one time, right? I don't recommend any of us take too many CBD treats at all.
Those edibles, man, what a loop. Well, so like one thing that I've noticed is that with any kind of CBD that you decide to give your dogs, in a general sense, if it's ingested anyway, obviously it's in the form typically of an oil. So what I always like to recommend is, if you're going to use any form of CBD, or actually any form of hemp seed oil, anything like that, that you make sure that has coconut oil in it, because it helps with the digestion of it without it upsetting the stomach. Because otherwise, you're going to end up, with dog with problems at a show. You're like, oh great, we're in the ring and now we're making a mess. So clean up aisle 3.
What I like to say is they get the Hershey squirts.
We're messed. You don't want to do that. But yeah, so definitely, if it's in the form of oil, I definitely recommend making sure that you take it with some coconut oil, so that way it helps settle the stomach.
Right.
So. Right. Yep. I give mine something entirely different. It's like it's tryptophan, it's chamomile, couple other things, but they're just little chews, and I literally I give it to them literally the moment we set up, because typically we don't show for another like within like 40 minutes of having arrived, at minimum, at any given show. So that gives it plenty of time to kind of kick in, and all it really does is just cuts the edge. They've never been lethargic. I just, I get it from PetSmart or Petco.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah,
remember.
and obviously, whenever we know our dogs, and if there's a little too much of it, you can obviously tell the difference immediately. I mean, it may be a couple hours after you gave it to them, but you can tell they're like, okay, well, you usually kind of hyper, or hey, what's going on? Like, are you good? Because they're just kind of laying there like, dude, I need to maybe go outside, but I don't want to, right?
Where do I
So
go, George? I don't know.
yeah, and then I mean, obviously, just knowing your dog is probably the best case scenario, because you don't want to overdo anything for them or anything like that. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about something a little different, but even from being little puppies, you don't ever want to overfeed
Nope.
them. You always
Yeah,
see cases where
absolutely.
dogs are overfed, and I guess it's just to try and get them to look bigger or bulkier or bigger bone. But in reality, man, puppies don't need a whole lot. They just need to make sure you got the right protein, you got some calcium in them. I like to really not feed my dogs raw until later on, maybe after like 6 months. Once we get into, a lot of people tell me you should feed them raw when they're little, but I just don't like to really get them started on raw that early, just because of their digestive tract, and it makes a huge difference as you get older. Being that they only stick around more or less kibble than anything. But I do try to implement at a young age veggies, try and do the coconut oil for their digestive system. Any kind of, I stay away from like all the other enhancements as far as like the pump stuff and stuff like that. I try to just keep it at a minimum, because anything that they eat, you're gonna notice it as soon as it goes through them, right? If it's good for them or not,
Yeah.
especially being puppies.
Especially how
So
fast it goes through them.
yeah, and so those things, when you overdo it, things start falling apart.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm talking about structure and
Oh
everything
yeah,
else too, right?
it can blow
There's
a coat.
there's
It can. Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's a
anything can happen. So again, I try to keep it to where it's enough, and never ever too much. It's something that a lot of us make that mistake, just because again we're trying to have those dogs look whoa, but the dog's gonna look wow whenever it's its time. It's gonna pop. It's gonna do what it has to do if you bred it right. If you brought the right, crossing to that breeding, you're gonna have dogs. I mean, I get a lot of people that ask me, man, what do you feed your dogs? And it's like nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, same old stuff, right? And they're like,
I
well,
hate
how
to
do you get them
disappoint
so
you.
big? How do you get them so big? Well, it's genetics. It's the dog was bred to be that.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, these people have probably never been around a dog like this, and they don't have like they don't see the dogs that we see on a regular when we go to shows, right?
Yeah, it's
So
Yeah.
to
relative.
us,
Like
it's
to
like,
them, this is
okay,
an extreme animal.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, this dog does look good, but if you would have been at the show where I was last weekend, you would have seen this dog and you would have been impressed, right?
Yeah.
But again, it's
Blowing your
it's
mind.
yeah, it just feels good knowing that they acknowledge the dog, but not only that, that it's a dog that looks good, that does what he needs to do, stays healthy as far as what we know. But obviously, getting better is always the goal, right?
Hey, I love it.
Oh,
Hey, G, how long?
absolutely.
What age did you say you start feeding them raw?
6
6 months.
months.
So what do you
Yeah,
feed them before?
I'm just really feeding them. Well, I have a mix that I do for the puppies. I do a little bit of kibble. I do a egg. I do a little bit of that Cairo
Yeah.
syrup. I throw a little bit of calcium powder
Yeah.
just to keep their structure, bones, and all the ligaments and everything
Yeah.
intact. So those are just kind of the things that I do. Obviously, kibble isn't so great, right? Because we know what comes in kibble, but they got to eat something. that fills them up. And with everything that I put together, it's just one of those mush type of
Yeah.
recipes. And I try to give them that as long as possible before I get them. And again, not all my dogs eat raw. Not all my dogs eat raw because some of them don't take it as well as others. I mean, I can have a dog. I have one of my dogs. I put him on raw, and the dude just gets fat, right? Like,
That
and
happens.
that's
Yeah,
that's
not
just
again,
how the
not
dog takes
universal.
it, the raw.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then I
Not
also got
universal.
dogs. I have dogs that I can feed them raw all day long, and they won't gain any weight. You know what I mean? So it all just depends on the dog and how.
Really
But
does.
I try to just keep it balanced between every dog. Again, not all of them are the same. Some take a different effect, some
Oh,
don't. But
work.
the ones that I do show, I do tend to give them. I mean, obviously, raw is good for their coat. They just look fuller. They gain a little bit of that girthiness whenever you need them to have it. So I do incorporate it, especially if it's one of my show dogs. But other than that, it's really kibble for me. I've been feeding Value Pack. It's a known brand around us. We can
Yeah.
get it fairly
Sure.
easy. And but I have been considering maybe switching over to something different. Again, some dogs take it, some dogs don't. I bought bags of food and opened them, and they didn't even care for it. So I'm
You
like,
don't even take a second glance. It was like, what is this swill,
yeah.
sir? Like,
So I'm like, all right,
my
well,
dad, but
we try a little bit of everything, man. We try a little bit of everything because everything changes. The dog attitude, especially when they're hangry, it's one of those things where like, all right, dude, I'll get you
snickers
some
ain't
food
gonna
that
help
you like.
that.
Yeah, I get you
It's
some
not
food
gonna
that you
help
like.
that.
My bad. And you notice because the food is there, and they don't even look at it like, and they're looking
Yeah.
at me like, hey, are you gonna feed us some good food today?
Yeah, what's the deal, bro? What did we do? Well, and the thing is also dogs change, and that's the thing is like just like human beings, like their hormones will fluctuate with age. So it's like sometimes when they go through, some sort of hormonal influx, the food that you have them on ain't gonna do it for them. Like all of a
Right.
sudden it's like, nah, man, duck.
Yeah.
They're not going to have it. So I mean, you typically should be changing your if you're doing kibble and things like that, you should probably be changing it up from here and there. And we actually um, Sam Smith has a also kind of an interesting additive to that, where he actually changes the actual meat that he uses in accordance to the season, because some meats, they're more warm versus cold, and so it's just one of those things where that's also kind of a neat factor that you can do with raw as well, to kind of uh, keep things changing and different, so your dog doesn't adjust to, and then get sick of the food you're giving. Somebody is asking you, when you're trying to decide if you're picking a keeper, how long do you wait to pick? How long do you keep them?
Um, Honestly, I have a very hard time choosing my keepers. I usually try to keep them as long as possible. If there's no pup bag deal, I probably don't. I've only had a couple pup bag deals that I've gone through with, and honestly, one of them wasn't my choice as far as my pick. So they had to deal with that, but I tried to keep them as long as possible. I haven't made a keeper choice under 4 months. And honestly, I try to wait even longer just because dogs change, man. They go from puppy to lanky to bull. And those trying to pick in those stages is very, very hard. Obviously, puppies, all of them could look almost identical at one point, and then next thing you know, 3 weeks go by, and then you got one that looks bigger than the other, one looks taller, one looks bigger head, but then in 6 months you see them, and it's like that dog with the biggest head turn into a dog that doesn't have as much head. But man, you get to really dissect the time. The more the time goes by, you get to really start looking at the differences in each dog. So I try to make my picks at last, I try to hold them as long as possible. Luckily and thankfully, we've been able to actually feed all these dogs throughout the time that we keep them. And I've had a litter before where people were just reaching out and we're like, I'll send you a deposit right now. I want one. I like that pairing. I want to make it happen. But it's like, okay, give me a minute. Give me some time. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not that I don't
A
want you to
minute
have
for
a
her
dog.
means 4 months.
Yeah, wait your turn.
Yeah, it's not that I don't want you to have a dog, right? But it's the fact that I want to choose the best dog to keep for my program, and
Yeah,
I'm not
I
breeding for
respect that.
anyone else. That's one thing about
I love it.
me and us, and
Someone should
we're not trying
understand.
to we're not trying to breed for anyone else. We're trying to breed for our program and to improve those things that we have already. So it's only gotten harder the more breedings that my partners do, the more breedings that are going to come along. It's only going to get harder because now we're really trying to nitpick at the things that
Yeah,
aren't as bad or noticeable, because every one of those little things can change the dog's appearance, can change if he's worthy of competing, if he is the
yeah,
dog to continue to breed. So I definitely encourage people to take their time. I mean, because you don't want to make a pick at 2 weeks and then you come to find out that the dog that you sold for the cheapest price at a sixth pick, fifth pick, or something turned out to be the best dog,
3 times grand champion. You're like, son of a bitch.
So,
Could have been mine. This could have been us, but I picked at 2 weeks.
so,
this could have been.
and then it really is tough, right? Because now you got to remember we're holding dogs longer than what we would want to, especially whenever we got potential buyers. But man, when you get into your program and you really start looking at it and going forward, backwards, forwards, there's a lot of things that you really want to know and have already said, so you don't have to worry about it later, right? You don't have to sit there and just say, man, if I would have just picked the first dog I saw instead of going with the little one, or if I would have just gone with this dog. No, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that your dog is already in a stage where you can notice if it's going to have if there's potential there, or if you want to just say, hey, this is a dog that I'm willing to put in a home that it's either going to show or just wants to be a pet. And one thing about me, and it's been like this, I do pet home a lot of my dogs. I
Yeah.
I,
If you're
I
really
pet
breeding
home
for you.
not because I don't think the dogs are bad dogs. It's just because at the end of the day, if there's a flaw that I see, I don't want to keep bringing that and knowing that, hey, well, that dog came from Dallas Elite Bullies and that's what they're putting out. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that
Right.
we have high caliber dogs, great breeding tools, and also just be able to have a dog that's structurally sound to be able
Yeah.
to have something worthy of wanting to shop, wanting to
Yeah.
shop for a
You don't want to be part of the problem.
exactly. And obviously, at times we have made certain breedings happen where we can say, hey, man, we didn't go the right direction this
Right.
time.
Yeah.
This is what we can improve on. This is where we need to go. This blood didn't do well with the blood that we have.
Lesson
Let's try and figure
learned.
out what. And again, it's a learning process, because anytime you breed anything that you didn't do research on, it's gonna be in the air. You don't know what you're gonna get. But the more you know about it, the more you research, the more you dive into the background of the dog, the pedigrees, and all that helps at the end of the day to continue to do better.
Yeah.
That's all we're trying to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Wild haymakers in the dark every once in a while make contact, but at the same time, before then, until then, there's still wild haymakers in the dark. So Chuck was actually asking, what kind of qualities are you looking for in your keeper that you're picking at 4 months or later?
Temperament, right? Temperament, a dog that can be around my kids without having to go bananas. Obviously, excitement is there, right? Because it comes with the breed. You're gonna have dogs that are loving, caring, that do anything for you. But really, temperament's a big thing. Try and have a dog that understands that you can have around anywhere, any place, no matter where you are. I bring a lot of my dogs to the shop, and they're extremely comfortable. I feel like whenever I have them at the shop, they gain so much confidence, being that
Yeah.
there's noises, there's air hoses, there's clippers, there's conversations, there's people. So, you know, that is a big thing for me, because if I can't have a dog that can just be chill, then I don't really want the dog to be in my environment to be bothering other people, right? Again, it's not the fact that the dog's ugly or anything. It's just the fact that I want a dog that I can have just be mellow when it's time, work when we need to, do what it has to do in the yard, come back inside and relax. So I'm looking for temperament. Obviously, I'm looking, and Dallas Elite Bullies, myself, we focus on having good, clean fronts on our dogs. It's one of those things that we've tried to just get on point as much as we do any other kind of breedings. We try and keep those fronts nice and tight, cat feet, just because it looks good, right? Everything from the front, when you
Oh
take a
yeah.
picture, you don't want to see a dog that's in the grass or hiding something. We want to be able to show that we have the dog that you can really see from the front and say, okay, now you're asking me a question that really, it's a broad answer, because I'm not looking at just one thing at this
Yeah.
point, right? I'm
They're
looking
gonna
at
like 50.
everything. I'm trying to see if I have a dog that's clean from the front to the back, and obviously, I'm gonna dissect that dog. I'm gonna make sure that everything from the bite to the tail, that it's not anything major, flaw, like, to be able to have something to breed with, right? Something to continue to do good with. Um, the blockiness of the head, you can't really tell when they're puppies, right? Everything's smaller when they're puppies, but you can see certain things: angulation, top lines, fronts.
Yeah, and as they
Uh,
start walking, like, yeah.
right, those things is what I really focus on once they start moving around.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people that like to chase color. I'm not really too into the color. I have a dog that's a try, shoots out tries. I like to throw it out there to say, hey, my dog can produce tries. But a lot of people get sold on that, right? A lot of people
Yeah.
get sold on the dog. Oh man, he can have try puppies with my try female. That's cool. But at the end of the day, I am looking at the dog overall. Overall, to be able to have a soundly structured dog. And that's what I'm looking for. Again, temperament, structure, everything above that is just one of those things where you gotta wait. The longer you wait, the more you get to see how the development of the dog is. So it's an overall outlook. It's an overall look of the dog. As close as I can get to the standard without having major flaws is what I'm interested in and what I look for.
Absolutely. I like that.
Sorry, my dog's breathing in the background. I love everything you said, and I agree. I agree. That's a very, very solid plan. And looking at 50 things versus just one or two things is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be dissecting. I'm just laughing at my potato in the background who's dreaming and
Yes. Hey, and
barking
So I've had
profusely.
to piggyback off that too, what qualities do you look for in a breeding, or picking up puppies? What did I do the breeding for? What qualities were I bringing this stud in for? Like, so was it to shorten the back? Was it to add angulation? Was it to fix the bite? Whatever it could be. So like I think that's a good anchor on how to pick puppies. Like, what did you do the breeding for, or what was the breeding for that you're purchasing a puppy from? Like, dissect those programs to really understand why that breeding took place. If they can't answer why, you might, hey, keep looking.
right,
Yeah,
right, right.
agreed. Definitely. Trying to
Yep.
see if I see any any questions. I mean, what's funny is you'll start answering one question, and while you're answering that question, you actually answer another question that somebody asked at the same time in the same statement. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, scroll past that one.
And this is why I can sit here and talk dogs for hours, because
Oh,
all
you're
the
in the different.
conversations just kind of flow into what the next is. And if we're really wanting to be what we call ourselves, breeders, right? there's not just one thing that we can look at. There's not just one aspect of the dog. There isn't just one flaw that we got to check on. It's an overall structure and that we're trying to hit, and overall standard that we're trying to get to. And obviously with conversations you get to really understand, and we get to kind of, like we said earlier, we just get to bounce off of each other and know that at times, man, I've been wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's times where I've had situations where I'm like, oh, this isn't what we should have done. But you learn from those things, right? You learn and you try and get it to where the next time you're not just starting from scratch, you're starting from experience.
There you go.
And the more you try and figure that out, the more we kind of go back and forth on what worked, what didn't work. We get to really, really see everything in an all-around feature of the dog, right? Not just one feature, one flaw, one thing. We get to really just look at the dog overall, and that's got to be the hardest thing for anyone to understand. Is it's not just one thing. It's not because your dog has the biggest head that's why we need to breed to it. What about all the other factors, right? What about health is important to me, and it should be at the top of the scale when it comes down to doing these breedings, right? But it's just the overall dog. I know there's breeds out there that have long lasting lifespans. I want to be able to have that too, you know. I want to be able to
Pomeranians
make sure
living 20 years. You're like, Jesus.
exactly. And there's only a few people that we can really talk to that can go deep into those kind of conversations, but to some, they're not interested or willing to listen to those deep conversations. And that's what sucks. That's what really sucks about a lot of us, is that we're so close-minded to where it becomes to that point where, man, he's been doing it like that forever and it's working for him. Screw him. I'm going to do it my way. Instead of saying, hey, bro, how have you done it?
Formula. Yeah.
What's the formula? Give me the, I'll pay you for the game. That's not a problem. I understand. But let me know what you know, because obviously there's something that I'm falling short on. And until we're able to really say that to ourselves and take accountability for where we've fallen short, we're never going to get better, right? Unless we know, hey, these are the things that we need to get better at. And then sometimes it takes more than just yourself knowing. It takes the team around you to say, hey, this is where we're falling short. Let's take a step back. Let's reanalyze. Let's figure out where we need to go now. Because if you're not doing that and you're just continuing to breed just because you see $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, guess what, man? It's not how it works. It's not how it's gonna work.
And I've said it, a million times, and I'll die on this hill, but like literally, like we need more advocates. We need more breed advocates. We don't need more breeders. We need more breed advocates. And if those advocates just so happen to also be breeders, we're doing great. But but we truly do. I mean, we have more breeders than we actually need, but we need more advocates who, like your goal is to create that consistency. Your goal is to get the breed standard to be paramount, to be necessary, because we also have to take in consideration, like, this breed was created by people chasing wow factors. Like, that's the wow factor mentality. Like, the only reason this breed exists is because of those people.
Right.
While it's the only reason that this breed exists, it might be the only reason that it is destroyed, because at some point consistency has to start taking place, where instead of creating the standouts, you're trying to create consistent, nothing but standouts. You know what I mean? So once you get in that mentality, then obviously you're probably going to succeed more where others have failed. But no, I mean, a lot of people are stuck in that wow factor mentality, and that's hard. That's real hard, because again, that's where our breed came from.
But there is ways to breed that into structurally sound dogs. You know what I'm saying?
There we
and that's the whole point, right? You get a dog that's amazing, right? You
Mhm.
see him in person, he's just wow. Oh my God, I'm gonna use Lil Baby for example, right?
Lil
Because
Baby's
he is
amazing, by the way.
he's
So nuts,
the wow
a
factor.
whole
You know
nother.
what I'm saying? He's the whole
Yeah.
package. And when you see a dog like that and you say, man, I'm gonna run that dog to the biggest female I have. Do you really want to
Yeah.
do that? Because not saying that anything is wrong with the idea of having that big dog, but a more sound and more structured dog could probably bring you better outcomes
Yes.
because you're not losing in any area where you might just fall short. Yes, you may have the biggest everything, but when you break down the dog, there could be things that you didn't really want to have, right?
Right.
It goes with any type of dog. You don't want to. I mean, if we're looking for wow factor, we don't want to breed classic to classic.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to do that because you're going to end up getting classics.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Sometimes the genetics behind a classic dog can bring what that other classic dog needs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that blood can click,
Cool.
and then you got a pair that can make you, you know, not just money, but can make you make noise in places where you've been wanting to go,
Right.
right? So again, pairing is important, but it's not always just about having crazy overdone dogs or classic dogs. It's about getting and meeting that common medium, getting to where it makes sense, and it has things behind it to make it make sense, right?
Right.
It's very hard to not want to use these dogs that look wow, but when you don't have the female to run them to, you're really
Yes.
not doing yourself any justice, or you're not doing anything for yourself to try and just have a big dog just because it's a lot more than just having wow, right? But again, we are in this stage where the more the better to some. I just feel like there could be better in a little less sometimes. Not saying everybody should go less. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there could be more for you when you try and just kind of figure out if you have that dog to breed. Pairing, right? Just make it worth
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Hey, I love that. Hey, OG Ramos, Papa Pitt, he was on earlier. Hey, man, he gave a shout out, man. Hey, yeah. Hey, we had some, man, heavy hitters on tonight that we're watching. Fred Duran, OG Ramos, just name a couple. But, man, OG Ramos was on last night with Raul. Shout out to QBN, Monday
Hmm.
nights, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. But he was saying this same thing. He's like, man, the most structurally sound female, take her to the most extreme male. You were talking about it, like, the female, she's got to be structurally sound. She's got to be
Right.
foundational. Line bred. Someone actually messaged me a while ago. He was on it. Kadarius Taylor, man. Shout out to Kadarius Taylor. That's my boy. Me and him talk every day. And he messaged me a while ago. It's about 45 minutes ago. And he said line breed. And he was on the show. But me and him talk about it every day. So I always say that I'm going to hit on it. And line breeding the female to create a foundational female and to outcross to that extreme male is the formula. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I know I did my line breeding with that Waffle House, right? Which I
Yeah.
ended up getting Pancake off of. This female, I'm not gonna lie to you, complete classic dog. Okay, great structure, super small in every aspect, bone, head, I mean, compact. But she is a dog that I wouldn't mind running to a dog that's overdone, something that's huge, right? Little baby, it'd
There
be
we
something
go.
that
There we
I
go.
would definitely run to because she's structurally sound in ways where it's gonna help. Not, and then I'm not breeding again. I'm not breeding just for big bone, big mass, big head. I'm breeding for structurally sound dogs, right? I'm breeding to be able to have a dog that can move, that can carry itself well, and that shows no kind of disabilities as far as breathing, movement, right? Temperament. These are the things that we got to really focus on. And not everybody has the right female, even though everybody thinks they have the right female. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. We're all trying to get better. But when you do have that, you need to know how to run it. You need to know how to breed it so that way you can keep what you
There you
need
go.
and bring what you don't have.
Yes.
And that's where
Yes.
we gotta get better. We have to. All right. Like, I'm not saying everybody's breeding bad. I'm just saying we have to get better in those things. Consistently trying to do that to be able to have that sound dog that says everything for you. You know, it's crazy because I never thought that I would be wanting to breed, because obviously it looks really good online. Everybody posts the puppies, cute mamas, dad, sires,
Puppies
studs.
are freaking
Everybody
cute.
shows off all the great things. But man, let's be honest, the dog shit, the mama having to deal with the stitches and then not having any milk
Yes.
produced. I mean, you're talking about sleepless nights
Blood
every
clots.
2 hours when they come. A crazy amount of things that no one ever really touches base on, because it looks good to show that puppy that's so cute and nice, right? But again, there's a lot more that goes behind it. The breeders that have bred, that have had dogs, they know. And I just encourage everybody to continue to try and do better. And you might be on the right track now, right? You might be there where you need to be, but you everybody can do better. And that's all I'm trying to get at, is just make sure that we continue to breed to better the breed all around, not just Easty Westy, not just Thunderbites, not just top lines, but an overall bettering of the breed is what I really want to do. And I hope that everybody takes that too, that really we start dissecting these pedigrees. We start really focusing on what we do need to bring to what we already have to make it better.
There we go.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm on 1% on my phone.
G.
Oh,
And
G.
dang.
I
To the
know.
end, my man. To
I
the
know,
end.
I
I
know, I
appreciate
know.
you. Man, you just took it to the
But
edge.
but
Appreciate
I
It's been
know
an
you.
I
absolute
know
pleasure,
that
man.
this is this has been really, really good for me. I really, really do appreciate you guys letting me be on. I just pray that you guys continue this and have major success and just going above and beyond, getting people on here that can share good things. And it is an honor to be here. I couldn't have done it without the invitation. And I'm so blessed to just be able to share my story, my part of what I'm trying to do. Obviously, not everybody's going to take it the way I give it. But hey, if you learn something from this today, that was my objective. That was my goal, for you guys to learn something. Obviously, it's not always easy to tell the things that are hard, but we do have to share it, right? We do have to put it out there for people to know. And again, never ever in a way to bash anyone. I'm always just here to help. So shout out to my team, Dallas Elite Bullies, the commission, man. These
That's what
guys
I'm
are
talking
100% on top of what we do. If you ever need to reach out to any of them, they will all answer. I guarantee it. Anybody can be touched and reached. So just make sure that y'all do if y'all have any questions. Again, thank y'all so much. My time is running short and I don't want to just click, but I do. I would
I
love
appreciate
if
you
y'all
sticking
want.
around for all this. I really do. Like you, man, you really did take it to the edge. So that takes some gumption. We definitely love it.
If you
Or,
if you guys ever have another spot, I'd be more than happy to come back and
about.
join y'all again. This time I'll
Absolutely.
be plugged into the
Yeah,
charger.
man.
I can dig it. I can definitely dig it. Well,
Yes,
everybody that
absolutely.
you learned something this evening, you're a big fan, you enjoyed what you heard and what you saw. Definitely feel free to share this, tag who you will. I know that it's going to go up on the YouTube, I think starting tomorrow, because the YouTube for some strange reason doesn't like to let me go ahead and upload it from this evening, which is weird, but I'll figure that out later for the most part. But I'll have him up on the YouTube channel starting tomorrow, so that way I can share the link and have you guys hop on there, view it, in real time. Or not in real time, but later on your time. Uh, so yeah, just share away,
Oh,
guys.
gee,
We
it's
really
been an
enjoyed having
absolute
you on
pleasure, man.
here.
It's been amazing. Hey, real quick. Hey, was Bruce laying in bed with a visor on? Does he go to bed with a visor on?
I don't know. That might be a question that we ask him after the live.
Trains. Hey, G, man, it's been a pleasure. Amanda, love you. Love y'all. Hey, y'all take care. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.
All right, you guys. Have a good night.